Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. Happy to be here with you today. And I just have time for a quick thought, just something that I wanted to go over with you. And no, it's not the impeachment. I know Nancy Pelosi has just announced that she's going forward and she's going to have Congress vote on the articles of impeachment, which don't exist yet, even though they had a congressional hearing yesterday to determine, is it, essentially their whole debate was, can there be an impeachment of a president on high crimes and misdemeanors? Of course there can. That's part of the Constitution. The thing they kind of leave out of that is there are no articles of impeachment. They're making a decision on something that doesn't exist. There isn't a case for it. So let's really think about what we're looking at here. What we're looking at is the 2020 election, the 2020 Democratic nominees. What I'm looking at is, what is it that we really see going on right now? What are they offering us? Okay, let's assume that they can impeach President Trump. Or even if they can't impeach President Trump, let's say we get into the 2020 election, what are the Democrats actually offering the public? What's the Democratic Party offering the public? Socialism. That's their big push. Whether it's single-payer health care, Representative Anthony Brindisi, as an example, in New York State, New York 22nd District, has supported living wages, which is higher than even minimum wage. He supports single-payer health care. Okay, you've heard about that. Bernie Sanders has been big on that. Something that would increase the national debt by 3 times, increase the average taxes of every single American citizen by 300%. Yeah, tripling your taxes for Medicare, something they consider rights. The free education, especially if you happen to be an illegal alien, they're going to give you free education. That's going to be paid for in taxes. And we have to say, with all these new taxes and all these new freebies that are being paid for out of your pocket, what is the net result? What do we see happening? Does that help the economy? Does that make people's lives better? It's a really good question. And I think we have an answer. And that answer comes from New York State. Now, on February 4th of 2019, this year, and a lot of people may have missed it, didn't hear about it, or have forgotten about it, but according to the Times Union, on February 4th of 2019, their article, Cuomo, state facing $2.3 billion shortfall. This was by Rachel Silverstein, by the way. So we're not talking about an organization that's right-leaning by any means. And they highlight in that article that New York State is going to have $2.3 billion in a shortfall, the most significant decrease in 8 years. And they blame that on tax collection. They weren't able to get enough money. And this is on a budget of $175 billion for 2020 alone. So New York State is losing money. And this is because the taxes are high and everyone's leaving. Now, Governor Cuomo said, everything we did economically is right. We tightened our belt, we cut taxes, we're creating jobs, and he thinks it's a penalty because they're just Democrats, that the government was picking on Democrats. But let's think about this. What else has happened in the last 8 years? Approximately 1.8 million people have left New York State. 1.2 million if you're not counting illegal aliens and migrants. So you've seen people, as taxes have gone up, everyone has left. And if he says that, well, we cut taxes, that's just a joke. New York State's budget, the deficit has gone up. Taxes have increased. Property taxes have increased. So that's what he said in February of 2019. And according to the New York Post, according November 22nd of 2019, we were told that New York State faces $6.1 billion budget hole for next year, according to the officials. This is an article by Bernadette Hogan and Carl Campanile. And he mentions that, again, the big mid-year report shows that New York State's going to be short $6.1 billion. That's on top of the $2.3 billion. So net in 2 years, New York State is losing $8 billion. Think about that. $8 billion. And that's, a lot of it is connected to the cost of Medicaid. Remember, this is the goal. They want to give you government-run healthcare. And government-run healthcare is paid for by you. And when people don't want to pay for someone else's healthcare, when they don't want to pay for someone else's college, when they don't want to pay for someone else's minimum living wage, not minimum wage, living wage, what do you see? People leave. In fact, if you look at New York City itself, on the $15 minimum wage for fast food workers, we've seen that there has been a decrease. We've had stores that have closed, less hours for workers, and people being fired. So they actually hurt the very people they say they're going to help, that 2.3% of people who actually make minimum wage. Yes, the number is 2.3% of all Americans make minimum wage. You're talking about roughly 6 million people out of 330 million people in New York and the United States make minimum wage. And for that, they have hurt all the businesses, and that's a fact in New York State. And we've seen that in Portland. We've seen that everywhere there has been minimum wage. Not even a living wage, just minimum wage. But again, in November of 2019, New York State said, hey, they're going to be short $6.1 billion. So you got to ask yourself, what is going on here? What are we going to do about this? How is this going to be resolved? Well, according to State Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie on December 3rd, yesterday, 2 days ago, he mentioned that the answer is they're going to increase taxes. And to quote the article by the New York Post, which is State Assembly Speaker says raising taxes will fix New York's budget gap. Think about that. The very thing they've been doing, and the only thing you've seen New York State do, only thing you've seen California do, the only thing you've seen Illinois do, is in each and every one of these Democratic strongholds, they increase taxes. They don't cut spending, they spend more, in fact. They increase spending on giving away college for free, quote unquote. They give more money away on health care for all and single-payer health care. They give money away for college loans. They go through all of this spending, but they're not cutting that. No. The answer is not cutting spending. The answer is they're going to spend more money. They're going to increase taxes. They're going to take more money out of your pocket. And this is the thing that really got me here. According to the article by the New York Post, quote, this is quoting Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie, this is going to be a tough budget year, unless money is going to fall from the sky. For us in the Assembly, we always believe in raising revenues. Okay, so there it is. The answer for Democrats, for Democratic Socialists, for progressives is that when their plans don't work, when the economy is not spurred, when they are losing money, it's to take more of your money. Now apply that to 2020. Very simply, the 2020 Democrats believe in living wages, believe in single-payer health care. They believe in higher taxes for businesses and for individuals. They're taking more money out of your pocket and they're spending it on the things they like. And that's their go-to answer. Not cutting spending, not spending better, not making better systems or better programs. No, it's let's make more programs. Let's give more money to illegal aliens. Let's give more money to entitlements. Let's make millennials and everyone feel like they're entitled and they are beholden to elected officials because we're going to give away all this stuff. And by the way, on the back end, we're going to take more of your money and we're going to take more of your freedom, like with the red flag laws that we've seen going across the nation over and over again. What is 2020? 2020, from the Democratic Socialist point of view, from the progressive view, from people like Plot and Antifa, the answer is you deserve less because they want to give it to someone else who deserves more, simply because they don't agree with you. You're not a Democratic Socialist, so you don't deserve to have what you have. I don't agree with that. I think it's very troubling. So with that said, I'm going to let this go. I thank you for taking the time to listen with me. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Do you think that we should raise more taxes. That's the answer. Just raise more taxes. Triple taxes for everyone in the nation to get single-payer health care. Add another couple $1 trillion for college loans. Add another couple $1 trillion for the illegal aliens in our nation. That we should add more money for everything. You tell me. Do you think that's the right answer? I'll talk to you soon.